Hello, friends. This is Mac Payne here, the originator and operator of the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast, coming to you in this video to announce I just published another podcast episode. This one is number 3192. It has to do with a story that was covered back in episode 2707. It had to do with Vietnam veteran Garfield Langford in Vietnam when he was serving with C Troop 7 of the 17th Cav, probably operating out of Pleiku. His unit went out on a mission to rescue two Cobra pilots that were shot down. They were headed out to the vicinity of the Plaisirang Special Forces Base, about 25 miles due west of Pleiku. When they got there, they found the pilots who had already passed away, and they also found a bunch of North Vietnamese. They got out there and they were immediately surrounded. They're going to be overcome by the North Vietnamese before they could get help. During the fight, a grenade was thrown by North Vietnamese into the area where Garfield Langford was, and immediately Garfield threw himself on that grenade to save his fellow soldiers. In the Bible, it says, "No greater love hath a man who gives his life for his friends." That's exactly what Garfield Langford did back there in 1969. They honored him at the time. His family received his Medal of Honor. The locals honored him several ways, but recently they did something else. It really went overboard in honoring the memory of Garfield Langford. Garfield was from a small community about 40 miles due east of New York City on Long Island. It's called Riverhead. Recently, the Vietnam Veterans Association created a documentary film about the life and times of Garfield Langford. They recently showed it in a local theater for all the locals to see it. It was a tremendous success. So good. It was a story about this that appeared in the local paper, the Riverhead Local. That is the story that is featured in my latest podcast episode. I highly encourage you to go over and see it. All you have to do is go to the podcast website, VietnamVeteranNews.com. Check out episode 3192, and there you will see a picture of young Garfield Langford right after he graduated from high school. You can tell from that picture he was a great one. He was a fine young man and took care of the people around him who needed help. The story that I cover in this podcast goes through all the things they're doing to honor Garfield and the people who were involved in it. I like to feature these stories because not only does it honor the person there, but I believe it provides people everywhere with ideas about how they can honor Vietnam veterans in their area. And I encourage them to do that. So the best way to do it is listen to this podcast episode, get some ideas, and go out and honor your Vietnam veterans wherever you may be in this great country or other countries. Again, all you have to do is go to the podcast website, VietnamVeteranNews.com, but I've made it easy for you. That's what I like to do, make it easy for you. Right down below this Philco television set that you see me on here, in the details section of this video, you will see a link to the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast.com, where you can go straight to that episode and start listening to it right away and listen to all the wonderful things they're doing in Riverhead to honor one of their own, Garfield Langford, who was a tremendous representative of the great Vietnam veteran generation, one as great as any that ever heeded the call of duty from our country. And also, I want to let you know, right above that link to the podcast episode about Garfield Langford is another link to something called Buy Me a Coffee. That is a bald-faced request for funds. I have been running this podcast for 12 years, paying all the expenses, and it's nice to have a little help every once in a while, especially if you like what I'm doing and can help me keep on doing it, which I plan to do. But it would be nice if you would click on that link and buy me a coffee. It's only $5 a cup. You can buy me 2 cups if you'd like. You could even buy me 100 cups. That would be nice. But you don't have to. The main thing I want you to do is listen to this podcast about Garfield Langford, a true American hero. And again, you can just tell from looking at his face, he was a great one. So please don't delay. Go down beneath the Philco TV, click on the link to buy me a coffee, and then click on the link to watch the podcast episode. I guarantee you, you'll be glad you did. So with that, you have your marching orders. Go for it. Talk soon.